Okay, so this is now episode number 6, working title, The Art of Conversation. Today I'm with Tim Spisar, who's on our content creator trip here in Norway. This is our last night. We have a beautiful beach scene behind us. We just did a really cool hike. So Tim, can you just explain what type of entrepreneur are you? Are you a photographer, videographer? What is your business focus on?
Yeah, I'd say I'm more of a filmmaker slash videographer, I guess, in
Okay.
layman terms. I also do photography, but
Yeah.
I think in the general sense, like a creative director kind of thing, that encompasses maybe a little more than I want it to, but trying to narrow that down. And
Right.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs probably deal with that.
Now, did you go to film school or anything, or how did you get into the field?
No, I didn't go to film school. I got a lot of inspiration from YouTube and from following others, and I went to university for a completely different path.
For what?
For kinesiology.
Okay. Which
I got
school?
a master's degree at the University of Brock.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
St. Catharines, Ontario.
Yeah.
And yeah, I realized I didn't want to do that,
Okay.
and that there was a better life out there for me.
Yeah.
That, I could control my own destiny, and
Yeah.
I got a lot of inspiration from these guys on YouTube, and slowly it
Right.
made me buy a camera, and I learnt and,
Right.
and failed and
Yeah.
learnt more and kept going, and eventually turned it into a business.
So did you start working full-time and then maybe had an overlap with some of your filmmaking stuff, or how did that separation occur from working full-time? And then if you did, what did you do? And then when did you decide to kind of make the leap?
Yeah, it was after my master's. I was working a couple jobs trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Part of me wanted to go back to school to be a chiropractor or something, but I didn't really want to do it. It was like a good career path, more of a kind of thing, instead of like, this is what I want to do, and that's
Right.
my passion kind of thing.
Right.
So I was working a few jobs in a couple clinics. I was being a trainer.
Yep.
I was doing some physio stuff and like just a few different jobs. And it ended up leading me to a full-time position doing some volleyball stuff.
Okay.
And I got pretty fortunate because at the time I picked up a camera and I was kind of learning how to use it. And I had this full-time job with a small business, and I started doing photography and videography for them just for free. And then eventually it turned into me doing it for work for them. And that allowed me a little bit of income to basically, I guess, have the business. Like that was half of my job, and the other half was trying to grow the business.
Right.
So I had a little bit of a shortcut there, I guess, in a way. And eventually that led to me kind of quitting that and going full time.
So would you say that with respect to filmmaking that you're self-taught?
Yeah, like I pretty much learned everything on YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube was like 90% of it, and the other thing was like experience, like going out, shooting something,
Right.
realizing that it was crap,
Yeah.
going back to the drawing board, trying again, and then do that a million times, and eventually you find a system that works for you, and a quality that's a little better than how you started.
Sure. And then do you remember maybe how many years ago it was that you were completely out on your own doing only the filmmaking? You stopped doing any of the kinesiology related work?
Yeah. So the kinesiology stuff I got out of quite a long time ago, right before the volleyball job came in. That was more of like a managerial, and like it was a very small business. There was only 3 of us, so I was doing a lot of everything, like admin work, and just it was completely random. And that was probably 5 years ago that I went full time for that, and then I quit that about 2 years ago. So now I've been basically entirely on my own for about 2 years.
About 2 years. Do you remember when you made that leap, maybe what your biggest fear was?
Yeah, definitely, man. Not having like a secure income from someone else. Like you are completely on your own in terms of finding a source of income and paying your own bills and doing all that. You're not, there's no guaranteed paycheck. There's no consistent, money coming in. It's all whatever work you put in, that's what you get back kind of thing. So that was difficult for sure. And then just going off on my own, like being all alone, not having a team around you and support and all that stuff is definitely a big leap, and was something that, was definitely worrisome for me. Yeah,
I remember when I got paid for the first time by a client, how intrinsically rewarding it felt to solely be responsible front to back doing everything. So bringing in the business, doing the work itself, and then billing and collecting on the back end. And it was at that moment that I had felt this spark within myself internally that I just hadn't felt before.
Yeah.
And I felt like that spark kind of told me I'm starting to get somewhere. And I'm not there yet, but it felt like a start. But not having that security, let's say every 2 weeks, of having someone direct deposit into your account was certainly scary at first. But I think that the trade-off for having the freedom, to me, is worth it. It's something that you have to get used to. But I mean, even when I left for this trip for Europe, my April and May, for example, were pretty busy for me, and they were good. But sometimes it's like, well, you know, June, July, like, I don't even know. And sometimes it's like, I don't even know when I'm going to get paid next. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's fine. Like, since we've been here, I've actually been doing some intakes for my law practice, and I'm going to be busy over the next month and a half. So, like, I'm not worried about it now. But there are certain times when I actually ask myself, when am I going to get paid next? Do you ever go through that too?
Oh, big time, man. Especially for me, we have seasons where, like, you know, clients are looking for people, brands are needing work, and weddings are happening, and there's just tons of work, and that's usually spring, summer, and whatnot. But usually, like, around December, January, February, March, that time is always like a struggle, man. And especially this year, like, there was, you know, 4 months where I didn't make much money at all.
Right.
And I knew that. Luckily, I had contracts for the rest of the year, but, you know, in that time, I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
And so I definitely have gone through many times of that, but, and I always overstress about it, but.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I'm there. I mean, I was stressing while I was here in Europe. It's like, you know, I'm going to London, I'm in Norway, like 2 places that are quite expensive, and it's like, I'm going to have to start paying this off, but, you know, somehow, how am I going to do that? And then, as I said, like, sometimes things just kind of randomly come in the door, and I guess sometimes the universe just kind of takes care of it for you. You know, if you put yourself out there, right?
So, yeah, for sure. Luckily, like, I have contracts ahead of time that are, like, you know, happening next year or whatever. So
right.
Something that's coming in at some point eventually.
Yeah.
And when, you know, I have less of those contracts, and it's like, oh shit, I got to get on the horse and start, like, you know, really pushing to get some of those so that I have at least some guaranteed income.
Yeah, so where would you say an approximate breakdown is in terms of what your different income streams are, I guess, to your business? Like you mentioned, for example, weddings. So do you do weddings, I assume?
Yeah.
Is that a big chunk of your revenue, or what are the different kind of chunks that kind of make up that pie of the revenue for your business?
Yeah, before it was kind of everything, like a mix of everything, and that pie had a lot of slices. I'm trying to narrow that down and really hone in on a couple things, and one of them is weddings. Yeah. So that's
it's a big market for that. There's a big market for that.
It's a big part of my, like, base income. So luckily, weddings book early in advance, like 1 to 2 years in advance, which means that I have guaranteed contracts for, you know, a year from now or 2 years from now.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of the other stuff that I do, which is brand work, and I'm trying to push more YouTube stuff and making more money on the personal brand side. Right. That stuff is usually contracts that happen now. And so, you know, having the balance of, okay, I know I have some guaranteed income, but I still need to pitch and to push to get some more of that brand income as well. Kind of that good balance between the two is what I'm really pushing for. So
you have monetized directly off YouTube? That's like so far, or is that something you're working towards?
That's something I'm working towards.
You're working towards that? So, and it's someone who has just started doing some YouTube stuff. From your research and from other people that you know and you talk to, what is the key to start monetizing on YouTube?
I think you have to be consistent. Like I think everyone will tell you that.
Yeah.
Because you have those certain metrics that you have to hit, like the watch hours and subscribers and all that stuff. But the big part is just being consistent, because they all have time constraints.
Yes.
And if you post 4 videos and you're hoping one of them gets 1 million views so that you can monetize, it's not a good system.
Yeah.
You gotta find a way to consistently post, and eventually you'll have a few videos that do pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, instead of having 4 and begging, you have 40 videos up, and you're able to kind of eventually get to that monetization point.
Right. Now, generally for your business, do you do outreach for clients, or do you get more so maybe referrals that come to you? I'm just curious as to what your lead sources are.
Yeah, before it was like 95% of my business was word of mouth. Yep. And just referrals completely. Yep. And since I recently moved provinces, now I've completely slashed that entire network. And
so you feel like
I'm restarting. And so,
kind of square one again? Maybe not completely that, but...
It's kind of square one. So I'm doing Facebook ads, and I'm doing a lot of outreach and pitching and all that stuff, which is a ton of work. And
it's hard, man.
Isn't really... I wouldn't say that's part of my job, but as an entrepreneur, it kind of is.
Have you done any work with brands directly, or is it more so? Okay, so the question that I've asked almost all of our friends here so far in these conversations is, who would your dream client be, and how would you pitch them? And you can take a second to think about it if you need.
So there's one that I'm potentially going to do some work with, which has been a dream client. That's Go RVing Canada.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they do awesome work, and they promote something that I'm really into, which is RVing and the lifestyle. And I think it's super impactful, and I think everybody should take at least one RV road trip in their lifetime. Yeah. And it's also within Canada, which is awesome. Yeah. And I actually did pitch them, and I've hopped on a couple calls. And so the way I pitched them was, I got a warm lead, so I chatted with somebody that worked with them and got my name in there, and then made a whole website pitch deck on my website for them. Yeah. And they loved it, and we hopped on a call, and we haven't locked anything in yet, but
that's fine.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, so I'd imagine that it could be something like a television commercial or something of that nature that you might want to do with them in terms of video work, I assume, right, is where you'd go with that. And I know that some other people in our group, and you can maybe speak from experience if you've done this, some people have said how they kind of get lined up with brands is, someone was mentioning, for example, about a particular hotel brand. And they said, well, I'm just going to stay at the hotel and shoot my experience there and then show them the work or put it out there and then tag them. And then sometimes you just never know when the brands are actually going to see your work, and then they might reach out to you and say, hey, we loved your work. We'd love from you to maybe do some more of it. Yeah. Have you ever attempted to do any of that yet within your business in terms of maybe just kind of shooting a brand or an experience that you just kind of loved? You didn't necessarily ask to be paid for it and just kind of did it even as a portfolio project?
Yeah, I've done it a ton.
A ton, yeah?
Yeah. I did them for this company, actually, Vivo Barefoot Canada.
Okay, yeah.
I did 1 or 2 just product exchange, basically free work for them. Right. And that ended up leading to some paid projects.
Of course, yeah.
The Go RVing Canada thing is I bought an RV myself, and I've created my own RV films.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Completely align with what they're doing, and my lifestyle aligns with what they're doing, and that's kind of the ideal situation for both myself trying to work with a brand and for a brand trying to work with a creator. It's I'm not just faking it. I'm not going to somewhere and just putting on your thing because you're paying me. Right. It's I'm in the RV lifestyle because I want to be there. Right. And that content becomes so much more meaningful. Yeah. And the whole story behind it becomes real. Yeah.
So you're essentially saying I'm working with brands or industries, whatever, that I stand behind, industries that I'm in, or brands that I'm invested in. So, for example, you love RVing. That's something that you want to do. I mean, I feel like that just, I know that you said that you're maybe not there yet in terms of having it lined up, but just in theory, that must make it easy for you with a project, because it's like, I love this anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm probably, like, I'm going to be shooting RV stuff this summer.
you're doing it anyway.
Like, just for fun.
Right?
So, like, I might as well get paid for it.
Yeah. Well, I have a one final-ish question for you, but what is your favorite thing about being an entrepreneur?
The favorite is definitely the freedom. Like, you can't beat it. There's so much hardship with being an entrepreneur. It's
For sure.
very tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work involved.
Yep.
But it's all worth it, because at any point, you know, my friends can say, let's go on a trip, and
Yep.
like, unless I have
Well,
something
we're here.
booked already, we're able to come to
Yep.
Norway. Like, how many people can go out on a limb like that and
Yep.
just travel at any point
Yep.
that they want, really?
Yeah.
That freedom, to the time freedom, but also the freedom of, I get to choose what I want to do. I'm
Yep.
not at someone's discretion.
Yep.
And, you know, if I really don't align with a project, I can say no. If I'm working for someone else, then,
Yep.
you know, I got to do what I'm told, kind of thing.
Right.
And then eventually, you know, financial freedom of being able
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
grow, and the harder you work, the more money you make.
Of course.
Stuck at a salary cap
Yep.
or anything like that.
Your incentives are directly aligned.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's hard because, like we said, like, sometimes you have periods where financials are lower, but
Yep.
all of that stress and all of that hard work is completely worth it.
Yeah. Well, I might have said this in a previous discussion, but for me, it's incredibly difficult to put a monetary value on freedom. If you think about it, in the course of our history, human history, people have fought and died for their freedom. And I think that maybe it's something that we can maybe take for granted or lose sight of. And it's hit me, I would say, in the last year and a half to 2 years, that I realized that that was one of my core values. I've always been a quite independent person, independent thinker. And it just kind of struck me one day. I said, why can't I just create my own job instead of asking someone for one? And I did. And I haven't looked back since.
Yeah.
Have you looked back since you went out on your own?
Oh, yeah.
You have?
100 times.
100 times? Yeah.
But only, you know, it's not a real look back. It's like, you know, there's times where I'm like, if I had a regular job, like,
Yep.
I wouldn't be feeling the stress that I
Yep.
am right now.
Yep.
But then there's no point in my life that I would ever give up what I have because of stress, you know? Like,
Yep.
you work through it, you work hard, and I know that no matter how low I end up getting, I'm always going to work myself out of that hole.
Yeah. Well, a content creator that I follow that's an entrepreneur, I've heard her say many times to choose your hard. And yes, being an entrepreneur is very hard. As you said, there are a lot of stresses that come with it that an employee of a company wouldn't have. But working set hours on set days with a lot of direction and set vacation times, that's also pretty hard too.
Exactly.
So
Like,
choose your hard, right?
exactly. Yeah, I've
So-
heard that as well, and that couldn't be more true.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Tim, thanks so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
I'm gonna
It's my
throw
pleasure.
up Tim's socials on the screen and in the description. Check Tim out. He's an awesome filmmaker. Big manual focus guy on his big fancy cameras that I have that I could probably never figure out how to work until he probably gave me a week-long crash course. But anyway, thanks, man. It was great talking to you.
Yeah.
And I hope to
thanks for
see you
having
again
me,
soon.
man. Of course, man.